Great. So thank you for tuning into Art in the Morning, and I'd love to welcome Joyce Rainbow. You're quite the talented illustrator, painter, and graphic designer, and you have quite the art resume, having worked in graphic design and UX for over 7 years. You've recently made the leap to full-time freelancing this year, and I was hoping to get to know a little bit more about you today. So, with that in mind, how would you say that over the last couple of years you've grown as an artist, and what really helped you grow into that today?
Oh wow. It's been quite a year, especially this year since I did make the leap from a corporate artist to freelance. I think that's where I've experienced the most growth in my art career because not only did I leave a company and now I'm basically an entrepreneur. I had to learn um, not only just to learn to teach myself techniques, but also to work as a businesswoman and to kind of like carve my own path, you know. So I think that was probably like the most challenging, but I've got the most growth out of that.
Yeah, how did that leap go exactly from like going from working in a company to doing your own thing? Like, how was it like a hard transition for you?
Um, I would suggest anyone to do this to kind of like ease their way into it because it was very abrupt for me. It was kind of like full time work, and then all of a sudden it felt like I was starting fresh, like when you start over in a new career and you have to start again from the bottom. So it was a very abrupt transition, and so the first few months were kind of hard, but over a while you start to figure out what your niche is and what direction you want to go to, and I'm still figuring that out myself. But once you kind of have some sort of goals or alignment in line, I think that helps as well. Yeah.
Yeah, how long have you been doing freelance? Because I know I said you just started doing that this year.
So I've had experience right after graduation. I graduated. UNLV was graphic design 6 years ago, so that was, yeah, 2013, and then I kind of worked part time for a bit after that, so I had the opportunity to explore that freelance lifestyle, and I did a lot of Artist Alley at that time, and just selling my own art. But once I got into like corporate work and started to work 40 hours a week, it was really hard to find time to focus on my own art, and just coming home from like a long day at the office, it's just you don't have that creative energy. So I already kind of had that kind of experience, just not full time like I'm doing now.
Yeah, that must be really opening for you to be able to just focus on the painting is and not just the corporate structure and what they want from you as far as your creativity. Um, but I did see that you hope to encapsulate like human consciousness in your paintings and stuff. What do you hope to encapsulate as far as that in your artwork?
I just I really like painting people, and I know that's like when you do your art and when you work on your own style, you start to like see like there's a common theme, and I really like painting people, and I really like portraits because portraits are very emotive. So to take that a step further and like to try to illustrate something like the human consciousness or like the human psyche, I think that takes it like a step beyond because you're trying to put something in a tangible image that's an intangible concept. So for me, it's a challenge, and I'm also I'm very into the relationship between psychology and art, which is something that's also been pertinent in my user experience history. So I just want to kind of like make people think and make people like question what they're seeing and stuff because that's what sparks something. So I want to create conversation, and I want to create thought and emotion with my art.
Right. So where do you ultimately see the future of artistic design really going? Like for yourself or for other artists even collectively? Because art is like always changing. It's
Oh yeah.
just always different. So what would you say you see your art changing into in the future?
You know, I've always been such a structured person my whole life, and I work off of structure, and especially this year with just going out into the void and doing my own thing, that really like made it really challenging for me. But it also made me realize that um, it made me come to terms that my art and my direction is always going to change, and I've seen that with other artists I follow, and when I ask about the artist past from people that I follow, that's one of the things they're saying is like you just have to come to terms that that kind of path is going to be fluid, and there's really no like destination. There's really no like, oh, you're there and you're like this great artist now. It's you have to enjoy the ride pretty much, and so I do have some short-term goals, and by short-term, I'm probably saying in the spectrum of probably the next 2-3 years or so. Um, I do want to work on like acrylic paintings more and live paintings, specifically like in the environment where I'm out socializing with people and I'm out at like festivals or like high energy places, and people can interact with me and know the story of my art, and just incorporating, and that goes along too with the theme of my art with like the human body and consciousness too. And so being able to interact with people can help build that story. So that's kind of like my short term um, direction or goal with my art. And but other than that, it's just I think I just want to enjoy and really not really like fear what's to come, or kind of like keep myself stuck in a box, but just to really be excited for the mysteries. you know.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to work with like other people. Um, I know a lot of artists they want to be alone when they work, and you know it helps them to be able to focus on their art when they're alone. How does it really affect your art working in collaboration with other people?
So especially this year, I was mostly working at home, and like I do like being alone, and I do enjoy that alone time, and it does help me focus and try to, especially there's parts of the art process where you have to really critically think, and you just need that quiet space. But I feel like I've been doing that for a while and haven't really balanced myself to where I can go out and connect with people, because you kind of need that balance. So I'd probably say like 3 weeks ago, I went to this painting retreat in Colorado, 2 hours south of Denver, where I learned from talented visionary artist Amanda Sage, and she taught a class of about 26 people, painters, on how to paint. It was a 3-day retreat, and just from that, it was very eye opening, because I haven't been around so many artists in such a long time, and like I was feeling, those few months for transitioning was kind of rough for me, and kind of like saddening, but just being around those other artists, I got to see, you get to bounce ideas off of each other, and you get to see like, oh, this person does it this way, and maybe I should do that. And you start to build from just connecting with people. And even there's like artists who've been doing that for a while, and there's even people there in the workshop who are, it's like their first time painting, and they see that they can actually do something that they didn't expect that they would be able to do before. And I think that gave me a lot of energy and joy, being like, just that feeling of surprising yourself. So there's definitely, a lot you can learn about working with other people, and I would say it's a balance. Like sometimes it's a little hard to focus if you're, in a higher energy environment, but you kind of have to feel out the process of your artwork, because there's many steps to it, and depending on where you are in the process. It's like sometimes you need to be alone, but sometimes it's good to like go out and connect with people.
Yeah, so it's like good to just be able to figure out other techniques that other people use, and you can kind of layer that into your drawing process as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and this goes towards any medium as well, you know, just being open-minded, or even like conceptually, like if I were to talk to a musician or a writer on like what their process is, like I can incorporate kind of that kind of feedback into my own lifestyle.
Yeah, because I know I do that too as well with my writing. I'll go out to like meet and greets or, poetry readings and stuff just to meet other people and figure out what they do and
Yeah,
how I can better myself. Um, and it's good for inspiration as well. I did see that you're a huge Miyazaki fan,
yes.
and I loved that piece that you did with all of his characters, and it's available on your Etsy shop and stuff for sale. But he is really famously outspoken
Mm-hmm.
for his dislike of digital art and how he believes that, it's causing humans to lose their faith in themselves. What was your opinion on that as far as digital arts? Do you believe there's a sort of like inhumanity to it as well?
I was actually kind of unaware of that point of view from Miyazaki, but I can see where he's coming from because his style is very traditional and incorporates a lot of like nature and natural elements. As of now, I'm trying to stay away from a lot of digital art, but I know it's something that I can do and I can come back to. I don't necessarily think that it's it's a hindrance. However, digital art does offer a lot of shortcuts, and if you try to make art through shortcuts and you don't learn the long way of doing things, it can kind of hinder your ability to grow. So a lot of my upbringing and my my history of painting has been digital. I used to work a lot in digital, especially corporately, because I worked as a slot machine artist. So obviously that was all digital. But which, as a side note, digital art is probably the best for production purposes, just to get stuff out there. But to grow and to learn in your with your work, and that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to switch to traditionals, because just learning how to mix paint and how to apply paint with pressure and just seeing it there, it makes so much of a difference. And if I want to go back to digital art, that's fine, and I can. But now I have this knowledge, or I'm building up this knowledge to what really works under that shortcut, so that if I wanted to take that shortcut, I have knowledge prior to that. Um, Another reason why I'm maybe want to stay away from digital art is, for now, I do get like computer screens sometimes don't really help me fall asleep. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I sometimes have trouble falling asleep and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, it's a little constrictive for me sometimes. But I'm not gonna deny the fact that I won't come back to it. There's positives and benefits to both for sure.
Yeah, I get you with the computer screen thing. I'm a
Yeah.
writer. I'm always on my computer, and I'm going into computer science too. So
Oh, okay.
that's just like, I'm always going to be on the computer. I'm never going to sleep again. But where have you seen art evoke change in the world personally?
I think it feels like it's more of like my internal exposure instead of seeing the world change. But something that's been very intriguing to me lately is seeing murals. And I think murals are awesome because they're just large pieces of art that are out there in the city. And I think, well, specifically Vegas, as you may know, it's such a fast growing city. And I mean, I've lived here for about 14 years, and a lot has changed during that time, and especially the art scene. And just in the past few years, I've seen a lot of murals being put up, and it's just like this giant awareness of like, hey, we need color in our lives. We need, just saying like, hey, we need this in our lives. Art is important. So like that to me has been, making me happy, and hopefully I can, with enough painting experience, I can partake in one as well.
Yeah, I know. I've seen those. One of the things that surprised me when I moved back to Vegas was I came back and everything was different. Like, there were paintings on electrical boxes down the street. And I was like, that's amazing that they've actually incorporated art into our city in like the 5 years that I was gone.
Oh, yeah. I would say like definitely in 5 years, a lot has changed.
But I really appreciate meeting with you today. And
oh, yeah, you as well.
To know a lot more about you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those were such great questions. And for your first interview, especially, I think it was great.
Yeah, thank you.